On the evening of February 15th, a woman in Colorado tracked down Michael Negussie using social media and told him that his cousin's family might be in danger. She had been on the phone with a member of his family when they passed out. Negussie would have driven her over to check on his cousin's family himself, but it was February 2021, and a catastrophic ice storm was sweeping across North America. So, following the advice of local authorities, he decided not to risk the ice-covered roads and called 911 to request a wellness check instead.
Medical, police, or fire?
We think medical, a wellness check.
What's going on?
We have family there right now, and the last time somebody spoke to them, they fainted on the phone, and we're just trying to find out if they're okay.
Okay, stand on line for Houston Medical. 1 moment.
Houston Fire Department arrived at the family's home about 13 minutes after this call was made. The caller was sure that Shalomit Bekele, his wife, and their 2 children were inside, but there was no response when the fire department knocked on the door. A fire captain at Houston Fire Department Dispatch returned his call.
Nobody's on scene, so it's one of those things. If they get there and they have to force entry, they're going to break the door, displace the lock.
Yeah, that's fine. Do that as soon as possible.
Okay. But this isn't your family member, right?
I mean, this is our family.
Okay. Part of the family. Okay. All right. We'll have to call HPD out there. And are you going to go, since they're your family, will you be responding to the location?
I mean, should we? We thought there was like a stay-home order because of the snow. We don't know if we can take
I mean, that's can't force you to do anything. We'll respond.
So we think that they might have inhaled carbon monoxide in the garage.
Why do you think that?
Because of people that had called them in the morning.
Why would you have been inhaling carbon monoxide is the question.
Because the car was on in the garage and they were cooking because the power was on. They were trying to charge their devices.
Well, we have units out there. I'll let them know. Make a tactical decision on that incident. And I'll get HPD out there. All right, thank you.
Okay, and you'll keep us updated.
The dispatcher then contacted the firefighters at the family's house, but he didn't tell them they might have been poisoned by carbon monoxide. Houston was under a blanket of snow, and the family home remained silent. After 15 minutes, the fire department left without making contact with anyone inside. Bekele and his family were one of more than 4.5 million homes and businesses left without power after the Texas electricity grid failed. In winter, the temperature in Texas rarely drops below 24 degrees Fahrenheit. But in February 2021, it plummeted to a low of negative 7.52 degrees. Desperate to stay warm, people took risks by lighting barbecues indoors, leaving gas stoves burning, and running their vehicles in enclosed spaces. 2 hours later, Negussie was still unable to reach his cousin, and he hadn't heard back from the Houston Fire Department. At 11:20 p.m., he called 911 again and was eventually connected to a fire captain at the dispatch center.
I called 2.5 hours ago for a wellness check. I'm calling for an update.
Okay, so we went out there.
Did you make contact with the people inside the home? I spoke to the fire department earlier. It says the truck was there for 15 minutes, but that's all they could tell me.
Okay, that's
the
same thing I can tell you. I have the same information they have. There's no other update or anything since then.
Okay, so like I think there's some confusion as to what's going on. We think that the people inside the home might have fainted as a result of carbon monoxide inhalation.
Okay, patient fainted on phone earlier today. We made location. We were on scene for 15 minutes, and they closed the call. So they were there. You said you spoke to the fire department earlier.
We do not know if the people we are calling for, the people we want a wellness check done, are well. Like, that is the thing that we are trying to confirm. And so the truck being there for 15 minutes does not confirm that.
Okay, and so I can't tell you anything else, so let me get you in touch with one of the fire captains, and maybe they could tell you more.
Okay.
Houston Fire Department was dispatched to the home again, but was unable to find their way there.
My family and I are concerned about the well-being of the family, 2 parents, 2 children inside of that home. Is there any way that you can confirm that they are well?
No, the only thing we could do is check with that engine company, see if maybe, if they remember, if they make contact with anybody, but they're on emergency run, so other than that, that's the only thing we can do. So at this time, we can't do anything. We can't confirm it.
At around midnight, the fire department arrived at the home for the second time. There was still no answer at the door. Unbelievably, Houston Fire Department dispatch called Negussie again with more questions before they entered the home.
Hello?
Did you call 911?
Yes.
Hey, we have some units out there. They're having trouble finding it. Is there a townhome number?
Give me 1 second.
All right, no problem. They went to the address. They said it looks empty. Why do y'all think someone's there? Or are y'all sure someone's there?
We think that a family of 2 parents and 2 children is unconscious due to carbon monoxide inhalation.
Almost 3 hours after Negussie's first call to 911, the fire department finally entered his family's home. Inside, all 4 family members were unresponsive. By this time, they had been unconscious for more than 12 hours. The family had moved to the U.S. from Ethiopia and had no idea of the dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning. Bekele's wife, 46-year-old Atanesh Mersha, was using her car to stay warm. However, the vehicle was in the garage. Unaware of the danger she was in, she spoke with her friend on the phone. When her husband went into the garage, he found her passed out inside the car with the engine still running. Unaware of the toxic fumes that filled the garage and being a deeply religious man, he desperately splashed holy water on his wife's face. He sent his children into the house to get towels when she vomited, but they never returned. The garage was connected to the house, and the children had succumbed to the gas. Bekele began to feel unwell, and then he too collapsed. When Houston Fire Department found his wife and their 7-year-old daughter, Rakeb, it was far too late. They were both pronounced dead at the scene. Bekele and his 8-year-old son, Baimne, were unconscious but alive and rushed to the hospital. The front door to the family's home had been unlocked all along. Bekele briefly regained his consciousness on his way to the hospital but quickly passed out again. He regained consciousness 24 hours later inside a hyperbaric chamber at Memorial Herman's Hospital. His immediate concern was for his wife and children. His son, Baimne, was connected to a ventilator in the ICU. The father wept when told that his wife and daughter had died at the home before help had arrived. Bekele was discharged after 4 days, but he stayed at the hospital by his son's side. His wife and daughter's funeral was on February 21st, and they were buried in Houston Memorial Garden Cemetery. The Houston Fire Department opened an investigation into their failures and concluded they were due to the dispatcher not relaying all the information he had. Doctors told the distraught father that his only son had a very low chance of survival. But miraculously, after 2 weeks and spending his 9th birthday unconscious in hospital, Baimne regained consciousness. Against all odds, he made a near-complete recovery and is now back in school and doing well. Christian Cooper was birdwatching in New York's Central Park area called The Ramble on Memorial Day on May 25, 2020. Here, dogs must be kept on a leash at all times, but as he has seen many times before, he noticed a dog running free. So he politely told the owner that her dog needed to be on his leash and pointed out the sign next to her that clearly stated the rule. However, she refused to leash her dog, so Cooper pulled out some treats and called her dog to him. When the woman, who was white, started emphasizing his race, the birdwatcher took out his phone and started to film. The incensed dog walker then threatened to call the police, and when Mr. Cooper didn't object, that's exactly what she did.
New York City 911, you need police, fire, and medical. I'm sorry, your phone is breaking up really bad. I can't hear anything you're saying. Ma'am, I cannot hear anything. The phone is breaking up really bad. Ma'am, I don't understand why your phone is breaking up like this, but it's breaking up really, really bad. I can't understand anything you're saying. Okay, assistance will be provided as soon as possible. I'm operator 1470. You said a black man with a bandana?
He's very threatening and very scary.
Okay, they'll be there as soon as possible.
On top of her claims of being threatened by Mr. Cooper, the woman told police he tried to assault her. This got police to respond, but when the officers heard that no physical contact had been made, they left without further action. That evening, Cooper's sister posted the video to Twitter, where it went viral. Many called the dog walker out for her racist behavior, and she gained the moniker Central Park Karen before being identified as 40-year-old Amy Cooper. Despite both being named Cooper, they are not related and were strangers before this incident. Miss Cooper was the head of insurance investment solutions at Franklin Templeton Investment Firm. After becoming aware of the incident, the company issued a statement saying that they were investigating the situation and their employee had been put on administrative leave. The following day, they tweeted that the 40-year-old's employment was immediately terminated. Animal lovers were upset and called her an animal abuser for the way she held her dog roughly by the collar. The dog, Henry, was a rescue from Abandoned Angels Cocker Spaniel Rescue, and they had also seen the clip. On the same day that she lost her job, Miss Cooper surrendered Henry back into the care of Abandoned Angels. The incident made headlines worldwide, with many articles pointing out that it had happened on the anniversary of George Floyd's murder by then police officer Derek Chauvin. Miss Cooper said she is not racist and claimed she called the police because Mr. Cooper's aggressive behavior had made her afraid. But the Manhattan District Attorney disagreed, stating that they hold people who make false and racist 911 calls accountable and initiated charges against her. Instead of facing the possibility of a penalty of up to a year in jail at trial, Ms. Cooper took up the offer of doing a restorative justice course. She completed the course, and in February 2021, the charges against her were dismissed. However, a year later, Ms. Cooper filed a lawsuit with the U.S. District Court against her former employer for race and gender discrimination, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence. In the lawsuit, which sought unspecified damages, she alleged that her former employer did investigate the situation before firing her, and the response legitimized the perception of her as a racist. Furthermore, being perceived as a Karen caused her such severe emotional distress that she was suicidal. In response, Franklin Templeton said they had acted appropriately and called Miss Cooper's claims baseless. At the time of making this video, the outcome of the lawsuit is still pending. At about 4:15 p.m. on March 22, 2018, Wisconsin dairy farmer Don Sipple opened his door to a distressed young woman. She was covered in mud and had dried blood around her mouth. She said she had been assaulted, so the older man took her inside and called 911.
County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
This is Don Sipple calling, and I have a young lady that just came to my house, and somebody attacked her, and she needs a doctor. Her clothes are all torn, and
what is the address you're located at?
What?
What is the address you are at?
E7614, 430th Avenue.
Okay. And is she injured?
Yeah, she's injured. Her mouth is kind of got some blood around it, and her clothes are all torn.
Okay. And she's by herself?
She's by herself. She walked to my house here just recently.
Okay. And can you ask her what her name is?
Just hold on a second.
Okay.
What's your name, ma'am? What? You don't know? She's in kind of bad shape. She just says she don't know.
Okay. Let me put you on hold. Do not hang up. I'm going to start some help, okay?
Sure.
All right, Don, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What is your middle initial?
My middle initial?
Yep.
A.
Okay. And your date of birth?
11/29/28.
Okay.
But it's a young lady that's here that needs help pretty quick.
Yep, I have an ambulance and some officers started that way. Did she say who did this to her?
Did she what?
Did she say who did this to her?
No, she said she was attacked, assaulted, and she's from Eau Claire.
Okay. And
Tell me your name.
Did she say where this happened?
No, I didn't discuss that.
Okay. Do you want to stay on the phone with me, Don, or?
Sure.
Okay.
So the ambulance is on the way?
Yep, ambulance and officers are on their way. I'll stay on the phone with you as long as I can.
Okay, I'll hang on.
Okay.
Coming for help. You're coming for help.
So besides her bleeding from the mouth, do we know what other injuries she has? Does she look like she's injured anywhere else?
Yeah, she looks a little bit, there's some other bloody marks on her leg a little bit.
Okay.
And her pants are all torn.
Okay. And how old, if you had to guess, how old do you think she is?
How old are you, ma'am? 19.
19, okay.
The ambulance is coming. You're going to get help.
And so she came on foot, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, she just walked to my door.
Okay. Can you ask her who did this to her? Or are you not?
Repeat that, please.
Can you ask her who did this to her?
Oh, just a second. Do you have any idea who did this to you? Just hold on. No, she can't. She's
pretty distraught.
Upset, and
okay.
I can see why.
Okay. Don, do you have some type of blanket or something that you could get her to wrap her up?
Sure, I can.
Okay.
Just hold on. I'm going to lay the phone down here a second.
Okay.
Sir?
Yep.
She don't have any shoes on.
Okay.
Hands are all muddied.
Okay.
I think she's probably walked quite a ways. I don't know without shoes how far she came, but...
Right. Okay. And is she outside of your residence, or where is she?
No, she's in. I got her inside.
She's inside, okay.
Yep. She's shivering, she's cold, so you had a good idea that I should have thought of getting a blanket around her to keep her warm, but I got her sitting on a chair.
Okay, sounds good. I'll keep you on the phone here.
This is a strange situation, one I've never seen, and I've been around a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing you called. It's glad she made it somewhere safe anyways.
Well, when I got her and brought her into the house, she wanted me to drive her to the hospital, but I didn't think I should be doing that.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. We'll get her the help she needs. We have an ambulance in her out also.
That's just what she needs, and
yep.
We'll get her taken care of.
Yep.
She's got glasses on. She said maybe I told her she's 19.
Okay. Yep. And did you say the blood around her mouth looks like it was dry, or?
Yeah, it's a little on the dry side. Yeah.
Okay.
So it must have happened a little while ago.
Okay.
I think she's walked quite a ways, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know how she found it here, but that's okay.
Yep. So, Don, do you have any family pets?
They're here right now. They're here right now with the police officer.
Okay. All right, I'll let you go. You speak with him, Don. Thank you.
You bet.
When a Dunn County deputy and a state trooper arrived at the farmhouse, their first thought was that the woman was a victim of sexual assault. Unable to remember who had attacked her or her name, the bruised and barefoot victim appeared to be suffering dissociative amnesia, but she kept asking for someone called Jason Mengel. Police followed the ambulance as it took the unidentified victim to Mayo Clinic in Eau Claire. Hospital staff and police noticed the word boy cut into her left arm. Then, while being treated, the woman remembered her name and who had attacked her. She said that she was 19-year-old Ezra McCandless and that her ex, Alex Woodworth, had attacked her. She also recalled that the assault had occurred in her vehicle on a muddy road which was very remote. Armed with this information, police began to search the farmhouse's area, but they couldn't find Woodworth that night. In the morning, McCandless was interviewed by Detective Prock, but she couldn't tell him anything more about what had happened. After speaking for just over 30 minutes, the detective left with no reason not to believe her. But later that day, officers followed a trail of muddy footprints and discovered the body of the alleged attacker half hanging out of the back of McCandless's car. A later autopsy revealed 16 stab wounds scattered across the 24-year-old's body, spread from his head to his groin. On March 24th, Prock interviewed McCandless once again. Before he told her that Woodworth's body had been found, the self-proclaimed victim still appeared to be suffering memory loss. However, when he revealed that they had discovered her distinctive car, she suddenly remembered specific details about what had happened. McCandless, born Monica Carlin but changed her name in 2015, said that after her Chevy Impala got stuck in the mud, Alex started to attack her. He carved boy in her arm and tried to cut off her clothes, but she managed to get the knife from him and stabbed him anywhere she could in self-defense. But her story didn't match the crime scene. There wasn't enough blood inside the vehicle where McCandless said she stabbed Woodworth, and Woodworth would have had more defensive wounds if her story were true. It also would have been impossible for Woodworth to have scratched boy into her arm if she had been straddling her as she claimed. When faced with this, McCandless confessed that she had cut the word into her arm herself. After a 2-week investigation, McCandless was arrested and charged with first-degree intentional homicide. At trial, the state argued that McCandless intentionally murdered Woodworth in a twisted attempt to win back her ex, Jason Mengel. Before taking the fateful drive down the muddy road, McCandless told her ex that an affair she had with Woodworth was a mistake. Then, wanting Woodworth to admit the same, McCandless left to visit him at his home. Feeling something wasn't right, Mengel followed her there on his bicycle. Shortly after he got to the property, 2 Eau Claire police cruisers arrived. A neighbor had called them and reported a suspicious man cycling back and forth on the street. Mengel was recorded on a police dash cam explaining his concerns about McCandless, but after speaking to McCandless and Woodworth, the officers left believing everything was good. Mengel left shortly after, and then McCandless and Woodworth began the drive that would end in murder. Evidence presented at trial showed that the defendant attacked Woodworth when they were out of the vehicle and that the first stab was to the back of his head and had taken Woodworth by surprise. McCandless took the stand in her defense and stuck to her assertion that she had acted in self-defense. However, her story of how she had gotten the knife from her alleged attacker had changed, and she couldn't explain why she had cut Boy into her arm. The jury didn't buy her story, and she was convicted in November 2019. A statement by her victim's father said, "By killing our son, not only did she take our son, she made the world a colder and darker place." McCandless was sentenced in February 2020 to life in prison with the possibility for parole after 50 years when she'll be 72 years old. When 11-year-old Finn McClure and his younger brother Sam finished school in March 2018, their mom picked them up and drove them to their home in Hamilton, near Sydney, Australia. On the ride home, the boys kept quiet because their 42-year-old mom had a headache. But once home, the boys watched in horror as their mom's headache turned into something much worse. Her speech started to slur, and she was soon unable to move. Knowing there was something really wrong, Finn dialed 000, the Australian equivalent to 911.
Emergency services. Tell me exactly what happened.
Well, my mum started getting a headache.
Right.
And then she started throwing up on the toilet.
Yeah.
And then it started getting a lot worse, and now she's starting to not feel her legs.
Okay.
Her legs.
All right.
And
Are
she
you with
can't
Mum
move
now?
it. No, I'm sitting on her bed, but the phone mum's still on
That's all right.
the
How
toilet.
old is your mum?
I think she's 42.
And how old are you?
I am turning 12.
All right. Is Mum awake?
Yeah,
Is
she's
she
on
breathing?
the toilet. Yeah, she's
All right.
breathing.
I need to ask you some quick questions about Mum so we can get the right help for her, okay? Is she completely alert?
What does, like,
when you talk to her, is she responding appropriately and making sense with her answers?
No, she's not, she's trying to say stuff,
All right.
but
What's your name?
My name is Tim, and I have my younger brother next to me called Sam.
Your name's Tim, is it?
Finn.
Finn. Okay. Can you take this phone to Mum for me, Finn?
Okay.
All right. When you get to her, I want you to tell me if you think she's breathing normally.
Yeah, she's breathing weirdly.
Breathing weirdly. Okay. Is she able to talk normally?
No.
All right. Was there a sudden onset of severe pain?
Is there any pain, Mum, anywhere?
Did Mum's headache happen all of a sudden, or has it been all day?
Yeah.
All of a sudden. All right.
Yes, she has a migraine.
And she can't feel her legs, is that right?
Yes.
All right. Has she had
she can't move them.
Okay. Stay on the line with me, Finn. You're doing a really good job, okay?
Okay.
Exactly what time did these symptoms start?
It started happening, well, when we got picked up from school, we were told to be a bit quiet because Mum had a headache.
So what time do you think that was, Finn?
Well, we get picked up at 3:25.
Okay. Has she ever had a stroke before?
No, Mum, have you ever had a stroke before? No.
No, okay. All right, I'm updating the ambulance for you, Finn, okay? Stay right there with Mum for me. All right, now we need to do a quick test on Mum for the paramedics before they arrive, okay? I want you to get close enough to ask her to do 3 things. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay, yeah, I'm close enough.
Okay, good boy. Ask Mum to smile.
Mum, can you smile? No. Too weak.
Not able to smile, or ask her to raise both arms above her head.
Can you raise both arms above your head? Mum.
Is she able to do that at all, Finn?
She can just get in.
Were they both raised equally? Or was one higher than the other?
No, they were both like equally,
Good
maybe
boy.
within half a centimetre.
Okay, ask her to say the early bird catches the worm.
Mum, can you say the early bird catches the worm?
Is that her talking, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
She can like barely speak, but yeah, she did say it, but very slowly.
Understand. All right. Okay, so I've organised help for you. Stay on the line and I'll tell you exactly what to do next, all right? You stay there with Mum and ask Sam to go and... is it Sam or Ben, your brother?
Sam's my brother.
Sam's your brother. Okay, ask Sam to go and unlock the front door for us, and if there's an outside light, turn it on.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly help Sam call Dad.
All right. Do you want to put me on speaker on this phone? Do you know how to do that, Finn? Sam's calling. Okay, all right. Make sure you tell him that you're on the phone to the ambulance for Mum, okay?
Hey, Dad, I'm on the phone to the ambulance right now. Yeah.
All right, the ambulance is there, Finn. Can you go to the front door and meet them for me?
Yeah. They're right here.
All right, you've done a really good job for your Mum. Well done, okay?
Because of the boys' quick thinking and ability to work together and pass on vital information to the emergency services operator, the boy's mom was soon in the care of medical professionals. Although her symptoms were common signs of a stroke, Rochelle McClure had actually suffered a hemiplegic migraine. This rare but severe type of migraine had caused the Australian mom's mouth and eyes to droop, paralyzed her left leg, and made her unable to lift her head. But thanks to her children's bravery, she was able to make a full recovery. Finn and Sam's parents were incredibly proud of them, and so was Australia. In June 2019, Finn and Sam were awarded Junior 000 Hero Awards at a ceremony at Parliament House in Melbourne. Finn said he knew it was important to remain calm when he called for help, and was surprised to be awarded for something he said he thought anyone would do. At the award giving, the brothers met the 000 operator who guided them to perform the 3-stroke tests on their mom. She congratulated them for their bravery and ability to keep calm in a very stressful situation. Sam said that meeting her was the most memorable part of the night. On July 29, 2019, Jasmine Perkins called 911 and told them repeatedly that she was dying. The 25-year-old had just been shot by the son of Florida Circuit Judge Barbara Hobbs.
What's your address? Okay, can you repeat your address for me? 1021 What's the closest cross street intersection? What's going on? Dying for what? I'm dying. Huh? A gunshot? Gunshot. Okay. Can you verify your phone number in case we get disconnected? 678. 699. Okay. How many times were you shot? 7. Twice? Where were you shot at? Huh? Okay, I'm getting help to you, okay? Okay, I'm getting help to you. Just stay on the phone with me, okay? I'm dying. Just stay on the phone with me, okay? Okay, how long ago this happened? Stay on the phone with me, okay? Stay on the phone with me. Okay? I'm dying. Who's the person that's yelling? I'm dying. Huh? Man. I'm dying. Okay, stay on the phone. Stay on the phone with me, okay? Okay, stay on the phone with me, okay? How old are you? How old are you? How old are you, ma'am? Ma'am, who shot you? Who shot you? Who shot you? Hello? Hello? Hello?
She was standing close to the door when Justin Haynes fired 2 shots at the lock. One bullet went through her hand, grazed the top of her left thigh, and passed through her right leg before it finally lodged into the wall behind her. Her dog, Samson, was hit by a bit of shrapnel. When Tallahassee police arrived, it took the judge's son 2.5 minutes to open the door. His 3-year-old son and the victim were in the living room. Jasmine was taken to hospital. In the ambulance, she told the police officer that Haynes shot her through the door after they had gotten into an argument. The 31-year-old shooter was read his Miranda rights and taken to be interviewed at Tallahassee Police Department. On hearing that her son and grandson were in the police custody, Judge Barbara Hobbs arrived soon after and asked the commander, who she knew, to see her son. But because Haynes wasn't a child, the only way she could see him was as his lawyer. So, the judge stated that she was her son's lawyer and was present during his police interviews. With his mother by his side, the suspect told investigators that he unintentionally shot Ms. Perkins while defending himself and his son against Ms. Perkins' pit bull. The dog had bitten him on his left thigh, but it wasn't a serious injury. There were also no claw marks on the door where the dog had tried to get at him as he claimed. During their search of the residence, police recovered fired 7 62mm cartridge cases, an AK-47 rifle, and a Glock handgun which wasn't used in the incident. 2 butter knives and a screwdriver lay on the floor, and there were marks on the door frame where they had been used to try to pry the door open. There were large amounts of blood inside the door, blood on the walls, and spattered on a mattress and blankets. Police conclude that his reason for shooting through the door was to gain entry, not protect himself against the dog. Evidence matched the victim's story. Haynes had been drinking and punched the wall in anger. She then locked herself and her pet in the bathroom and tried to secure the door. On the other side, Haynes demanded to be let in before retrieving his AK-47 and firing 2 shots at the door's handle. One of the shots hit Ms. Perkins, who then called 911 from her cell phone. The judge's son then got into the room, snatched the phone from Perkins, and ended the call. He then carried her into the living room, where the victim claimed he started pacing back and forth with his hands on his head, saying he's going to jail. Then the police arrived. Haynes was charged with second-degree murder with a weapon, shooting at and into a building, and attempted animal cruelty, but petitioned to seek immunity from prosecution under Stand Your Ground laws. However, this was denied in May 2021. His mother, Judge Hobbs, was accused of improper behavior for acting as her son's lawyer after his arrest. After a Judicial Qualification Commission complaint in trial, she was acquitted of arranging unmonitored and unrecorded contact with her son while he was in custody, but was deemed guilty of representing her son in his interrogations. In July 2021, it was reported that the judge did not oppose the recommended 60-day unpaid suspension and public reprimand for representing her son. Haynes is currently out on bail, and his trial is pending. Don't forget to like this video if you found it interesting, and subscribe to join us in the next episode of True 911.